Now guys, if you own a Mercedes-Benz and you make use of the inbuilt Sat Nav, this video is for you, because in this video I'm going to run through some hidden features and tips and tricks on the Sat Nav alone. So these could be things like how to get to your destination as quickly as possible, alternative routes, there's even a couple of hidden features, and did you know you can even report a traffic incident right on your car's multimedia system just to let others know of an impending hazard or danger on the road. So loads to cover today. Let's dive straight into this car and have a look at number one. So for the first one today guys is multiple routes. Now did you know that you can actually get the multimedia system to kind of suggest alternative routes just in case you don't want to take the one it originally says. So by default when you put something in on the Sat Nav it's going to look a little bit like this. So I'll just get a postcode loaded up on the screen and away we go.
Your route is being calculated.
Nice and easy. However, notice that it just started. There was no option to choose another route or anything. So if you want to choose another route, you can enable that. And it's quite easy. All you need to use is the touchpad in the middle or the touchscreen on this particular car. Without any route guidance enabled or anything, all you do is go to settings on the bottom right hand corner of the screen, then go down to advanced, then go to route just on the top, usually on the far right hand side, then go all the way to the bottom. And then in here you'll see suggest alternative route. Toggle this on and then back out of that, and from now onwards whenever you type in a kind of destination you'll see a slightly different menu. So same thing again, we've got postcode loaded up, but now when I hit go
Your route is being calculated.
it'll work out a few different types of routes. Now of course normally route 1 is going to be the fastest, but just in case you want to take a different route you can choose one of those three. Now this next one is particularly important. If you have purchased a used car from somewhere, the default settings might not be what you're expecting it to be, so it's good to check. So this refers to live traffic, or what Mercedes refer to as dynamic route guidance. Basically, when you type in something on the Sat Nav, you probably want to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible. So it's good to check this particular option to make sure it's enabled. So on this particular car, this one is MBUX, so if we go all the way to settings just like before, tap on the cogs, go down to advanced, and then here go to route again, but this time have a look at the very top here. Normally in most Sat Navs, and especially in Mercedes cars that I've seen, there's fast, short and eco. Sometimes it might say dynamic. You'll either want fast or dynamic. On this particular one it's fast, but you'll notice there's an option underneath and it says dynamic route guidance. Go in here, and in here this is quite useful. You'll definitely want it on automatic for the live traffic to come through, but this will automatically reroute you in case there's a delay. Now you might not want that, you might want it to prompt you first before it changes the route, in which case select after asking and you thank me later, because sometimes it can be a little bit confusing as to why you might be driving through the countryside when you expect to be going down a motorway, and it's probably because of live traffic. But if you have that on after asking, at least you'll know why you're driving down these kind of really small roads in the countryside. But yeah, on to the next one. Final one before I jump into another car. Now this is quite useful if you want to have live traffic shown on the map. So the settings I just showed you were for the routes only, but if you want to see the green, yellow and red lines on the map, all you need to do is go to settings on the bottom right hand corner, and notice here it says traffic. This is purely just the overlay. So if you toggle this off, all the live traffic will disappear on the map. You'll still get the fastest route, but it just won't appear on the screen, and keep it as kind of clean as possible. But I know a lot of people do like that on from reading in the comments anyway, but yes, I will leave it on in this particular car, ready for whoever who uses it next. And just before I move on to the next one, which is something that not many people know about, make sure that, of course, with anything to do with live traffic in a car, it is a subscription-based service. You do have to pay for it year on year, although it is included usually free of charge for the first few years with Mercedes-Benz. Now, I do have a separate tutorial video on how to renew it, and it does also include map updates as well on selected models. So click in the description down below or on the pop-up banner up above. There's a full tutorial video on how to do that. So let's have a look at this next one that you might not know. Now, I have mentioned this hidden one a couple of times on my channel before, and I do want to make a separate video again recovering it, but it's called What 3 Words. Now basically What 3 Words have coated the entire planet in these small squares. So basically if you want to navigate to literally the front door here at Mercedes-Benz Pool, you can try it for yourself. Just head over to the What 3 Words app and type in twice, hugs, spins, and that will take you literally, funny enough, to where I film all the videos. And it has a natural integration with all cars with MBUX that I've seen, certainly in the UK. I know this does vary in country to country from what I've read in the comments, but it's so useful. And the phrase to do it is, "Hey Mercedes,
How can I help?
navigate to what 3 words? Twice, hugs, spins."
Here is what I found. Where do you want to go?
1.
I am calculating the route.
And that will literally work out the route of where you want to go. Now, if you want to find out what those what 3 words are of a specific place, like your house, a particular place that's in the middle of nowhere, just download the what 3 words app and you can see what all these squares are. Then you can literally say it to the car's multimedia system and navigate there as quickly as you can. Now this next one is particularly useful. It's a slightly more advanced Sat Nav feature, but is very, very useful if you're doing a road trip. Now this is called intermediate destinations in Mercedes-Benz multimedia systems. So say, for example, you want to travel to, I don't know, London, but then you want to travel via another place, I don't know, like Salisbury or something like that. So if you go where to, you type in your final destination first. So let's type in London. And that'll bring up a result on the left hand side, so we'll do that one, just the centre, and away we go. And I'll have the Sat Nav muted just for the moment. So that's going to work out the route. Now if you want to add a waypoint, so what Mercedes call an intermediate destination, quite clever. All you do is just go to the same place where it says where to. Let's do that Salisbury as I mentioned. And once you've typed that in, it'll come up on the left hand side. So again, choose that one over here. And again, we'll just do the centre of that one. Now notice here, for the keen eye, there's an extra little plus symbol just there now. So when you press this, you'll see a different pop-up. So if you tap that one, now what the car will do is add it to the route. So you'll be going via a place, and particularly useful as well because it factors in live traffic and all sorts. So over here on the top right hand corner, you can see the kind of destination number 1. So that's in Salisbury, and then number 2, we've got London at the top up there. So pretty cool. And yes, a 45-minute delay on the motorways. Glad I'm not doing that journey. Anyway, on to the next one. Now this next one is for electric car owners. Now if you don't have an electric car, have a listen to this, because this is so clever and so useful and so reassuring at the same time. So if you're looking at electric cars, you might think, range or price or battery, infrastructure, all that sort of thing. However, Mercedes-Benz have got something very, very clever baked into their multimedia system. So just for some context right now, let's have a look at the battery, how much battery's left in terms of percentages. So in this one, it's 83% charged. Now with that in mind, let's now navigate somewhere on the Sat Nav. So let's do where to, and we'll go to Southampton, nearest city. Now what's very clever is the Sat Nav will work out the route, number 1. It will then work out the live traffic, and only 3-minute delay at the moment. But number 3, it's going to work out what your battery is going to be when you get there. So it was 83% charged, and look here on the top right, it's going to be 69% when you get there. How cool is that? It literally works out the terrain, weather, your driving style, live traffic, the route, all sorts. So it just gives you that sort of reassurance of owning an electric car, because yeah, if you went out blind and just drove up north, it you know, depending on the range of the car, you could, you know, be worrying a little bit. But yeah, this is so cool that it works that out. And if you went further than the car's range, it'll even suggest charge points for you could just stop at as well, all built in. Now that's a separate video in itself. Mercedes Me Charger have covered that before, so click on the pop-up banner, link in the description down below as well. So let's have a look at the next one for today. Now, just before I jump into another car, did you know that you can actually report a traffic incident on your multimedia system? So this is so useful if you're driving around and say, for example, you've got someone broken down at the side of the road and you want to let others know that there's a danger or a hazard there. It literally could be anything. You can do that on the multimedia system in the car. So just to help out other road users, all you do is just go to this button just here on the bottom, click in here, and then go to Report Traffic Incident, and then tap yes. That will literally send out a report to everyone nearby, and yes, look, there is now an exclamation mark on Mercedes-Benz pool. So anyone who's driving by that has this sort of technology on the road over there will now see that in their car. How cool is that? So it's so useful if you're driving down you know, a country road in the dead of night, and you know there could be some animals there or something, you can report that hazard so the next person behind you potentially can see that there's a hazard there, or even like someone broken down. Mercedes-Benz think of everything. So let's have a look at the final one for today. Now guys, for the final one today, this is satellite view on your multimedia system. Now I have only found this on cars that have NTG7, so that's the latest version of MBUX. So it's basically the ones with the Hey Mercedes voice assistant and without the touchpad in the middle. But it's quite cool, so you can add a satellite view to the multimedia system. So to do this, all you do is go to Where To on the top left hand corner. So if I tap that one here, go to Settings on the bottom left, and then go to View, and then turn on Satellite Map. What this will do then is turn on the satellite map behind, and then you have literally almost like a Google Earth kind of view. Now speaking of Google, if you did want to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you can do this on Google Maps anyway, because I think all the images come from there anyway. But yeah, pretty cool. You can have a satellite view on the inbuilt multimedia system in your Mercedes. Now, did you know guys as well, there is a hidden feature that not many people know about. You can actually add speed cameras to your multimedia system. So if you want to see how to do that, click this video right here, and that one will take you straight to a little thing that you can do to add speed cameras natively to your multimedia system. Although there is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well, so user preference. Huge shout out as always to Sandown Mercedes, as they help provide access to all these cars you saw today in videos. Guys, thanks so much for watching. See you next time.